Welcome to Small Business, Big Network, the podcast for small business owners who want big results from their networking. I'm Liz Drury, a freelance voiceover artist who knows that if you're not working, then networking could help. Jenny Green is the Senior Account Manager for 2222 Marketing. Her top tip for networking is to keep your pitch short and sweet. Thanks for being my guest on the podcast today, Jenny.
Oh, thank you. It's lovely to be here.
Now, you're a digital marketing specialist, so my first question really is to dig into your background a bit. Have you always worked in this field, Jenny?
Yeah, for about 20 years. I started off in sort of the PR side back in the day when digital marketing wasn't really a thing, and it was marketing tended to be done sort of through direct mail and press releases. And I suppose my jobs have evolved as the industry has evolved.
Yeah, so you currently work for 2222. So
yes.
Who have you worked for prior to that?
A real mixture, to be honest. I've done some freelancing because when my children were little, that fit in really well. It gave me the flexibility to look after them without having to sort of go into the office. But I've always wanted to keep my hand in marketing because it's what I like, particularly the copywriting side. So freelancing gave me that flexibility. I've worked for local agencies before, and I've also worked for businesses, but handled the marketing arm of their business rather than it being an agency, just a specific company. So I've done all sorts, really. I even had a bit of a spell working at a local vet's when my little boy was very little, and I sort of needed. It was nice. I needed something to get out of the house a little bit, but I was very limited as to what hours I could do.
Yeah.
So I did a little bit of marketing there as well. So that was an interesting one.
Yeah. So what is it that you love about marketing?
I think for me, I like all of it because it's so quick moving, but it's the writing side that I really like. It's the copywriting and the messaging and the coming up with ideas. I love sitting down with a client and saying, right, what about this? What about this? What about this? And sometimes the ideas are quite out there and they'll go, yeah, that sounds great. And then it comes to it and they need a bit of persuasion to say, oh, come on, this will work. But I love that kind of the meetings where you come up with different things that are going to try and get different results.
Yeah. So you've obviously been in the marketing world for some years, and things I know have changed massively. So tell me about some of the things that have changed.
So, I mean, TikTok is a massive one, obviously. Admittedly, I'm not the biggest TikTok fan. We do TikTok ads for clients, but as a rule, it's not a platform that I'm hugely fond of. I prefer Instagram as a platform. We get clients sometimes say, oh, I would actually really like to do some TikTok content, and you say that's fine, but you'll need to do 3 videos a day so that you don't get drowned out on the platform. And quite often they'll change their mind and say, well, actually, maybe we'll just stick with the other platforms because they're lower maintenance. 3 videos a day is a lot.
Yeah, definitely, especially if you're running a small business and doing everything yourself.
Yeah, if people have got sort of a catalogue of videos, then that's fine, but a lot of the time they won't. And video itself is obviously massive. It's a lot quicker moving. Back in the day, you didn't really get a lot of videos on social media. It was full of people's dinners and holidays. Whereas now I think people use things like Facebook and Instagram as a business tool just as much as good old Google. And I think AI itself obviously is a whole different entity, but I think that's sort of starting to replace sort of search engines as well. Quite, my husband will say sometimes, oh, I've asked chat this.
Yeah. And are you making use of AI in your work?
Me personally, my AI use is fairly limited. I like it for sort of if I've had a conversation with somebody and I want it summarised, or somebody sends me a voice note, I'll stick it in chat, and that's a really good way of getting the information down on, on paper as such. I don't tend to use it for my writing because that's what I like most. So it doesn't really need to replace that. But I do quite like it for brainstorming or a bit of research. One thing I have been using it for quite recently, I did a LinkedIn post about this actually, is I've been using it for the Elf on the Shelf stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I told my children that their toys had gone off to the North Pole for the last week of November, and then took some photos of the toys that I hid, and then asked Chat to produce an image of the said toys sat at the North Pole with a Santa in the background. So the kids were getting daily updates from the toys.
Oh, I love it.
So I've used it for that, which was quite nice. It was a very sort of quick idea that.
Yeah.
And I just know I'm going to regret that though, because next year they'll be like, "Can you send us some photos of the toys again?"
Yeah.
So
Yeah, you've made a rod to your own back there, I think.
Yeah, that'll come back to sort of bite me. But yeah, I use it occasionally. I can't say that I'm really making full use of it. I'm sure there's a whole skill level that I need to learn with that, but for the moment, writing is what I sort of like and what I'm good at. So I'm just sort of sticking with the organic, old-fashioned way.
Yeah. Do you think that the traditional methods of marketing, around print in particular, still work? Do they still have a place?
I do to some extent. Yeah, it's I went to an expo a couple of months ago, and actually we were given a lot of leaflets and pens and stuff like that, and actually it was quite nice going home at the end of the day with a bag of stuff and actual people's businesses' names in my hand, and I did actually make quite a lot of contacts from pieces of paper as opposed to digital means. So yeah, I do still think there is a place for it, and I think sometimes people probably quite like the change, particularly if it's a clever sort of piece of direct mail or a clever business card, things like that. People, they stand out more. So I think they can be quite powerful if the message is right.
Yeah. So tell me about the services that 2222 offer.
So we specialise really in sort of two main areas: social media content, primarily for LinkedIn, Instagram and Facebook, and low cost paid ads is our speciality really. We help businesses get started on Facebook, Google and LinkedIn ads that have quite a small daily budget. So £5 a day is a typical budget that somebody might get started on if they want to do a Facebook ad campaign. What we do is we will design the ad for them, we will do the messaging, the graphics, set the ad up, do the targeting, usually some A/B testing. So if somebody doesn't know, for example, whether they want to go with a video or a graphic, we'll run 2 ads side by side and split the budget between them for a week, and then check in after a week and look at the data and use that to make a decision as to which ad we should move forwards with. And then we check in with the ad every week. So we'll look at the data, decide if we need to make any tweaks, if we need to maybe try a different image, for example, and go from there. So most people start off sort of small with their budget and then scale up once the leads come in. But because we do it on a month-by-month basis, it's a nice way for small businesses that don't have a massive budget to give something new a go.
Yeah.
Particularly if it's an area that they're not very confident in themselves. Sometimes people will say, well, I did ads before, but it just didn't work for me. And you talk to them and find out why. And it could be that their target audience was massive. They might have targeted the whole of England on a Fiverr. Yeah. Or it could be that they didn't do any testing at all, so they just sent their ad off into the world and never checked on it again. Yeah. So it's, as much as it's a great way to get a business in front of the right eyes, there is a lot of areas where if it's not set up properly, it can affect its performance. So
you've got to know what you're doing, haven't you?
Yes, essentially. Even just picking the wrong objective for an ad, it could be that a client or tried an ad before and they picked a lead campaign, but actually a traffic campaign would have given them better results for what they wanted. So even just that can alter its performance. So there's a lot of faffing, and I'm good at faffing.
So who are your clients? What kinds of people are you working with?
Oh, we've got all sorts. We've got personal trainers, recruitment companies, fleet companies. We've got online clothing companies, accountants. It's all sorts. And because we do Facebook, LinkedIn and Google ads, we can set up an ad on the platform that best suits that business. So LinkedIn is really good for B2B businesses. So if you've got businesses that are setting up workshops or webinars and things like that,
Yeah.
LinkedIn's great for those because you can target by seniority level and job title. So if you want to get in with a certain business or a certain level within a business, they're great for that. Facebook, the targeting is interest based, so you can target by people's hobbies, shopping habits, geographical area, age, things like that. So that works really well with sort of e-commerce businesses or services like beauty and things like that. And then Google Ads, you're making the ad based on keywords and what people are searching for. So sort of local businesses work quite well with that, particularly service businesses. So things like, plumbers or kitchen fitters. So we can tailor the ad to whatever business wants a campaign, really. So, but all sorts. And we've had some very weird and wonderful ones, and I always like those.
Tell me about some unusual ones then.
Unusual ones. So we've had sort of people that do manifestation courses. That was an interesting one. I've never manifested anything in my life, so that was quite an interesting one. We've done a book subscription company. That was a lovely one actually, because I like reading. So that was a nice Christmas campaign, and they've run it for the second year running because it did well. So that was a lovely one. We've had, I always like the holiday companies as well, because you get some lovely images to draw over while you're setting up that campaign. Yes, and a lot of sort of coaching, and that seems to be very, very big now. So sort of a lot of the mind, getting the right mindset and teaching people how to do that, and sort of send things out into the universe with the idea that it comes back if you do the right things. There's been a lot of sort of content around that, it seems. So that's always quite interesting. I'm not, like I say, I don't tend to be one for sort of manifesting things, but I always like writing about it because it kind of fascinates me.
Yeah. So how do you help your clients? So what kind of format does your help take? So somebody comes through the door for the first time. What's the first step to working with them?
So the first thing is we have a chat with them about what it is that they want to achieve. Is it that they want to sort of grow awareness? Do they want to get more leads that they can sort of then keep the data and contact them and reuse? Is it sales? What is it that they want? And then if they want to run ads, we'll talk them through the process, ask them whether they want to do sort of the video, the graphics, what message they want to send across. They send us the information that we need, and we'll build the ad based on our conversation. And we always keep in touch with them so they know what's happening. So we check in weekly and tell them what we've found and what we're going to do so that the ad has the best chance of performing. And just keep in touch constantly, because people at the end of the day want to know what's happening, why it's happening, and how their ad's performing. And we quite often need to check in with them as well to say, look, have any of these leads been good? It's all right getting leads, but obviously it's sort of their responsibility to convert them. So we need to have that conversation. And a lot of the time, the ads actually highlight other areas that need improvement. So we've had it before where the ads have done their job. They've sent people to the website and they've, clicked on the landing page, but then they've not purchased anything. And a lot of the time it's because there's an issue either with the website or the pricing's not quite right. People have kind of been interested enough to click, but stop short of buying. So sometimes that can kind of highlight other areas that need looking at, whether they've perhaps priced their product a bit too high. Or the message on their website just isn't clear enough. So sometimes it can bring other problems to the front line, which isn't always easy to discuss, but it's part and parcel of it.
So what kinds of results do people get from working with you? What have you seen them achieve?
I mean, it really depends on the business. Some of our most successful ones have been sort of e-commerce businesses. We've had them say, I've had the best month ever due to the ads. Again, subscription companies do really well, particularly this time of year in the run up to Christmas. We do ads for sort of different networking companies as well. They always do really well. And seasonal ones are quite popular. We have quite a few people that do ads at a certain time of year. So one that my boss Chris has been working on, I think. It's a company in America that do professional Christmas decorations.
Oh, right.
Now, I'm quite sad I didn't get to work on that one because I quite like that. But they're obviously not going to be running that all year.
Yeah.
It's just a seasonal thing, and that's done really well. So it can be difficult sometimes because clients can sort of turn around, and I've had it done to me where a campaign's been running for a week and they've said, I've not had any lead yet. And that can be quite difficult because particularly if it's a high cost product, if somebody's selling a holiday, for example, that's going to cost £5,000, the chance of somebody just purchasing a £5,000 holiday within the first few days is quite slim.
Yeah.
And it can sometimes take a bit of time to get the messaging right, to get the right images across, and it can be, a lot of testing involved. But then equally, once somebody does purchase that £5,000 holiday, that's going to cover the cost of the campaign for, a few months potentially.
Yeah.
So a lot of it is trying to manage people's expectations. And obviously, the higher the daily budget they have, the bigger chance they've got of the ad working. But equally, £5 is fine and will get good results if it's done properly and, tweaked accordingly. Yeah.
So let's turn to the networking side of things now. How do you like to network?
I've got to admit, before I started this role about 18 months ago, I hadn't done a great deal of networking. I'd done bits and bobs, but not for a while. So when I went into my first online networking session with this job, I think it was an FSB one, I really didn't feel like I had any idea what I was doing, but I thought, well, I'll just roll with it and see. But actually, I really like it now. I do quite a few. I mainly do online ones because it fits in well with my day. And I quite like the flexibility of it. It's like tomorrow, for example, I've got a bit of free time in the morning, so I've just gone on the FSB website and found one. So I thought I'll do that tomorrow, and I quite like that. But then equally, I actually joined a in-person one and went for the first time last week, which was nice. And then there's another networking group that I do. It's the only one, and that's every month. And I said earlier on this year that I wanted to do a talk for a networking group. But I was quite worried about it. I love talking to people on a one-to-one, but talking in front of a lot of people is not something that comes naturally to me. But I thought, no, I need to make myself do it. So there's another networking that I do sometimes, and I sort of cheekily said, can I please put myself forward to do a talk maybe next year? So I'm booked in for April, I think. So I just know April's going to come round so quickly.
Oh, well, good luck with that.
Thank you. But it's quite good because it's kind of making me do things that I perhaps wouldn't have done automatically otherwise. It's pushing me out my comfort zone a bit. So.
Yeah. And do other members of the team go to networking events as well?
Just myself and Chris. So I work for Chris. So Chris does quite a lot of networking, and I think he hosts one as well once a month. So just us two that do the mingling.
Yeah. And what have you found that you get from going to these meetings?
I think the main thing that I've really loved about it is just it sounds an absolute cliche, but meeting so many nice people. It's not all potential clients, just genuine people that I now sort of keep in touch with outside of work as well. Yeah. And for example, there was I went to Atomicon.
Oh yeah.
In June, and there was a guy that I've met at an Atomicon networking thing, and then I went on his podcast, and then we met up at Atomicon, and it was really nice to kind of just meet somebody in real life and talk like friends as opposed to meeting through work. So the genuine, as well as getting work through networking, which is obviously always nice and ultimately the whole point, it has been really nice to get to know people as well. And a lot of the time we know that there's no real kind of potential relationship in terms of sending work over, but they're kind of nice people to have on your side to offload to, or just ask somebody's opinion of. That's also valuable.
Yeah. Yeah. So have you got any networking tips to share with people who might be new to doing it?
I think I'd say try a few because, for example, I'm not a massive fan of the networking sessions where you all just take it in turns to do your 30-second pitch and then that's it. You know, I've been to some before where there's been like 50 people, you know, an online one.
Yeah.
And the whole session has just been full of pictures and then it's done. And I remember one, it was in alphabetical order and I felt so sorry for everybody whose last name began with W because by then everybody had stopped listening. Anything past a sort of G and everyone had switched off. So I'd say, you know, try different ones because certain people love different formats. I like the breakout room ones. I think they're really nice because you can have proper chats with people rather than just saying your bit. Yeah. So I'd say try different ones to see what suits you. And the other thing I would say is just keep things brief. When you do the pictures at the beginning, quite often I'll talk under the minute, which is quite surprising really because I do like a good chat. But I the first to admit when people do really long pictures at the beginning, I just sit there and think, well, you could have cut that down to you know, I think it's probably the copywriter in me where I cut out the waffle, but I think just keep things as simple as and to the point as possible.
Yeah, I think that's very good advice. Because
there's a lot of information at these networking sessions, which is brilliant, but anything that's not irrelevant will just get drowned out.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So my last question then, Jenny, if people would like to connect with you or find out more about 2222, what's the best place for them to find you?
I would say connect with me on LinkedIn, but there are a lot of Jenny Greens on LinkedIn, I imagine. So, I mean, I would say email me. My email address is jenny@2222marketing.co.uk. That's a good place to start. Like I say, I am on LinkedIn along with a lot of other Jenny Greens. So perhaps email is the best place to start. And 2222 Marketing has got pages on LinkedIn and Facebook as well. So
perfect.
I often lurk around on there too.
Lovely. Well, thank you very much for being my guest today, Jenny.
Oh, no, thank you. It's been lovely to chat and thank you for having me because I know I did ask. I wasn't invited.
It's always good to ask.
It is. You don't ask, you don't get.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening to Small Business, Big Network. If you found this podcast useful, please do rate, review and subscribe. And don't forget to share it with the rest of your network too.